Hello, this is Kerrigan Byrne, and just as a disclaimer, I want to let you know that I'll be discussing adult themes with other adults, so there is the probability of adult language.
Every evening when the sun goes down, get with my party and I begin to clown. I don't care what the people are thinking. I'm not drunk, I'm just a drinking.
Welcome to A Toast to History, Romance and Mystery, where we chat about reading, drinking, geeking, and living the writer's life. I am Kerrigan Byrne, and I write historical fiction for St. Martin's Press, and I'm also an indie published author. Today on the program, we are toasting the agent's wish list, what they want to see, what turns them off and on, literarily, of course, and how to find the perfect fit for you. We are joined today on the program by literary agent Christine Whithone, founder of Book Sense Literary Agency. Christine is a sponsor of the Women's Fiction Festival, annually held in Matera, Italy, and she teaches brainstorming, branding, and social media classes in various cities around the US, the UK, and Italy. So welcome to the program, Christine. I'm so thrilled to have you.
Hi, Kerrigan.
Please tell us what is in your glass that you're toasting with today.
Well, not to be piggish, but I have a hydro flask of lemon ice water, and then I have some hot herbal tea.
That's awesome. I don't always toast with alcohol either. Like if I'm doing something in the middle of the afternoon, it's usually coffee or something like that. Tonight, though, since both of us were raised good old Irish Catholic girls, I decided just to go with some just blended Jameson, just your average awesome Irish whiskey. It's your kind of go-to.
Well, since I probably need to keep my wits about me, I have to refrain.
I'm sipping softly, I promise. I just drink a little. Mostly. So, Christine, you always tell your authors to put on different hats. You're always telling us today you need to wear your business hat or your creative hat or sometimes your bitch hat when we need to. So you're a woman who's worn many different hats. Do you want to tell us a little about your background before you became a literary agent and what it was that made you decide to do this job?
Oh, wow. That's a long story.
You can give us the Reader's Digest version if you want to.
Let me try to make it short. I studied biology, chemistry, and nursing, and I have a degree in all three. Mm-hmm. And I was going to go to medical school, and my dad became ill right before med school started, and he actually went in for an emergency gallbladder surgery, and it was pancreatic cancer.
Oh, man.
So he lasted 5 weeks. So I had a choice. I could either play catch up with my med school class, or I could wait a year. And I decided to wait a year because my head wasn't in the game. And in that year, I changed my mind. Mm-hmm. And I started working for a law firm. And through the firm, I started taking classes on how to negotiate contracts in entertainment law, in music, professional sports, books, movies, TV, and I was more interested in the TV side, TV and film side, the dramatic stuff, and quickly changed my mind because books were more my fit.
So at the time, would you say that books kind of helped you through, reading helped you through that difficult time in your life as well? I mean, is it something that you turned to for entertainment, or is it more of a business for you, or both?
Well, I was always a reader, so I was just... my dad was my rock. I was heartbroken. It was hard to concentrate until I figured out, put my big girl panties on and figured out what it was that I should do with my life. And I decided I was going to do something fun, and I had already been in school for 16 years at that point.
Oh my gosh.
Because I even took some grad school classes, so I'm definitely a lifelong student. So once I decided, there was no turning back. I was like a bulldozer, but it was just getting to that point. So I'm not going to say that reading was the driving force, but I just had to get over my loss.
Yeah.
And that everybody's different. You just have to figure it out on your own.
So true. So very true. So let's get in then to the nitty gritty of our conversation. You represent mostly fiction. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, or actually most entirely fiction, both foreign and domestic.
Yes, I do both.
Okay. And what would you say you're seeing coming across your desk the very most at this moment from authors?
I get a lot of foreign submissions, believe it or not, and I've been getting a lot of science fiction and fantasy, which usually indicates, a micro trend. I think that the market will go that way pretty soon. I think people are kind of tired of what's out there and what's saturating the market, but we can talk about that here in a minute. But I'm going to say science fiction and fantasy and a lot of YA. And even in YA, the subgenres of YA, I've been seeing a lot of science fiction and fantasy.
So what specifically is catching your eye? Like, say, if you want to start filling these markets or writing to these trends or micro trends, what would you say is catching your eye about the submissions that are coming through?
Well, the first thing I look for is, did the person do their homework? Do they know? Do they have the right word count? And you can usually tell in a query letter if the person reads widely, because if you submit to me, you have to tell me you have to give me a comp or two of what your story is like. What would you compare it to? Mm-hmm. So I usually can tell if they read in the genre that they write in, which is the most important thing for a writer. I mean, even Stephen King says that if you want to be a writer, you need to read. Nora Roberts says that if you want to be a writer, you need to read. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to read just that genre, but you do need to read widely in that genre if you're going to write it. Because otherwise, how are you going to know what you're writing is good? So
you really like to hear from a possible client or to see on a query letter that here is what I am comparable to, or I am the answer to this negative. Like maybe I can fill this hole, as it were, kind of, that there isn't anything else out there like me, or I'm doing this older trope in a different way, but they can point at something and say, I am comparable to this.
It's hard to explain. Agents' jobs now, I mean, we do everything. We have to anticipate looking forward. We career plan. We strategically, our clients are our team members, so strategically together as a team, we decide what our next move is going to be, what our next project that you're going to work on. And you do that with all the clients. When you get a query, the first thing is you're looking for things that could I possibly work with this person? Would we be a good fit? They have to at least be 90% of the way there. Mm-hmm. If they haven't done their homework, I don't have time to educate them. That's not my job. Although, as my client, there's not much I wouldn't do for my clients. I mean, I let everybody know about the market changes, micro trends. We talk about sales. We talk about everything. Right. Because you guys are my business partners.
Exactly.
So, you guys are educated. You're educated. You read widely. You know who your competition is. You know what your market is. So, like I said, when I'm looking at submissions, I look to see if the person is prepared.
Okay, so would you say that that's the number one thing that turns you on about a manuscript or a possible client?
Absolutely.
Is their preparedness.
Absolutely.
So you can see that usually very quickly in a query letter. Once you get into the manuscript, once you actually get into the writing, what is the most important thing for you?
A story that grabs me, that won't let me put it down. Because usually I only have a sample chapter or two that people send me, mm-hmm. so I can read for up to 50 pages. And if if I keep going, I know it's good. You know what I mean?
Right.
I read until the wheels fall off. There's no set number. I just keep reading until something goes wrong.
So this is a hard thing to define, I suppose, but what would it be that you feel keeps you turning the page? Is it pacing? Is it a certain amount of danger, of emotion? Can you kind of put your finger on it, or?
No, it's all of the above. I mean, if it's just good storytelling. I hate to always use this because it sounds like a cliche, but it really is the voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's how the person's telling the story. Did they draw you in? Whether was it suspenseful? If it's a thriller or suspense story, if it's a mystery, do they pull you into the mystery part of the story? And sometimes the characters literally come alive, like it's cinematically playing out before your eyes. And
right.
You know you have something good when that happens.
When you forget that you're reading.
But when in doubt, I always give the query letter the benefit of the doubt, because I know people are nervous. So I always make sure that I'll keep reading. I'll keep trying. If they've only given me 5 or 10 pages, then I'll read 5 or 10 pages. And if it's good, I'll ask for more. But you just can tell when you go through hundreds of queries or thousands in your career, you can go through them pretty quickly.
Oh, for sure. So empathetically, I guess, since you are so forgiving and usually do give people the benefit of the doubt, what is it that automatically goes on the discard pile? Like, what just really turns you off or pisses you off, or you're just like, fuck this, there's no way I'm gonna read this?
When I open up my submission pile, I answer every single one of them personally. I know other agents have a reader, but I'm one of those people that I don't trust other people to read what's good and what's not, and tell me what's good and what's not. I read every one of mine by myself. So I go through there quickly, and any 40,000 word or any 200 or 650,000 word. And by the way, I looked at them before you called, so I had a 650,000 word tome that somebody sent to me. And I've noticed I've been getting a lot of crazy word counts lately. And those automatically I can get rid of them very quickly. And I respond to everybody. Mm-hmm. I respond to everybody.
Do you tend to tell them this is why? Like, this is why I'm not going to pick you up, or do you try to be really gentle?
I don't have, I would love to. Earlier in my career, I tried to give personal responses. There's just no way. That would be a full-time job. There's no way that you can personally respond or give feedback. A lot of people say, well, I know you're passing, but can you give me feedback? That's not my job. I go through so many. If you want feedback, get a critique partner.
Right.
So I think that people have a skewed idea of what agents really do. You're not coming to me for feedback. There are people that charge for that. I'm sure that you can find plenty out there that will be happy to give you feedback. That's just not something that I do unless you're my client. Mm-hmm.
But so asking for that kind of thing is a definite turnoff. Like, expecting you to be.
Well, that just shows you they didn't do their homework.
Right.
Not an agent's job. I just, another thing is, dear sir or dear Mr. Withone. Last time I checked, I was female, so that's automatically a red flag.
Yes.
Or on my website, I have on the submission guidelines, it tells you exactly, it has a wish list, what I would love to find. Then it has what I accept, and then it has what I do not represent. Mm-hmm. And under what I do not represent, it's in bold, and it's red, and it's, I've got an asterisk in front of it. I don't want to see anything with God, rape, nuns, priests, any kind of abuse of animals, elderly, children. I mean, there are some things that disturb me, and I sure the hell don't want to represent them.
Right.
I don't even like reading them in the paper, for goodness sake. So,
so do you feel like most agents do that? Like, also have those sort of guidelines on their websites as well. Like, it should be easy to do your homework, correct? Like, it should be.
Oh, of course, most agents have that information, and if they don't, then they're fair game. But
Right.
if they most people will tell you specifically what they're looking for, but don't claim or don't give me this, like, you may go to somebody who is Jewish that just does not want to see World War II stories.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know, all the people in my professional circles, everybody has their likes and dislikes.
Absolutely. And it's important for you as an agent to represent a story that you love, that you can really get behind. Probably
Sure.
Everybody feels that way, agent-wise. So that kind of leads me into...
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry?
No, I was going to say, you don't want to go to an agent who isn't passionate about your story. I mean, they're representing your story. They're your business partner. And if they're not passionate about your stuff, because trust me, they're going to have to fight for your story. So if they're not passionate about it, they're not the right agent.
Yeah, absolutely. So I might not have prepared you for this question really, but it kind of popped into my head. What do you think, what is a common mistake that a lot of agents make, or what would a person who is searching a manuscript around or shopping it around, what are some red flags when you're looking for an agent that would tell you, like, no, do not even look at this agent? Like, what have you seen in your business, I guess, that a bad agent would do, bad business practices?
When I started, for 4 years, I did my homework, and I went to New York every month, spent a couple weeks every month in New York, and I met editors one at a time. And I built my contact list. I went to conferences. I really talked to authors. I really talked to writers who were up and coming. I really did, kind of get in the trenches to see what people liked, what they didn't like about agents before I actually decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And I try to treat everybody the way I would want to be treated, because they're people too. Mm-hmm. But I think on the author side, they don't realize how much work that we do, and that when we look at submissions, we look at them on our own time, which means in the evenings and on the weekends, which is also our family time.
Right.
And they also have to realize that our clients will always come first, no matter what. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that they just don't think about things like that.
Authors don't.
Yeah, authors just
right.
don't think about that. On the flip side, I think that sometimes agents can be a little brutal and unfair. Mm-hmm. I think that some agents, everybody has a different style. Some people like very blunt. It doesn't matter if it's rude or not. They want it. Just pull that Band-Aid off quick. Mm-hmm. Just quick and dirty. And I'm kind of in the middle there, because I tend to be blunt, mm-hmm. but I'm not cruel.
Right.
Because I wouldn't want somebody to be cruel to me. But I think that there are misrepresentations on both sides. But I think if an author was going to, they had a story to shop that they were excited about, and they were sure that it was ready to go and it was spit shined, I would do my homework and figure out what agents, ask around. You can get a ton of information off of the internet. You can go to agent websites. There are books, Writer Digest books on agents. Mm-hmm. There's a treasure trove of information out there.
Yeah. And I feel like that kind of leads me, that's a good segue into the next question I was going to ask is, about finding the right fit. Like, I feel like a business relationship that is so incredibly symbiotic, like the agent-author relationship, is a bit like a marriage. In a way, like you said, you're a business partner, and not only do you sign papers, but oftentimes, you create like a personal relationship. And finding the right fit is really important. Like, I remember, submitting to certain other agents, or looking at them and thinking, and even being a little crestfallen if I ever received rejections or that kind of thing. And after we signed contract together, I remember really thinking, I like your personality and the way you do stuff. I really like your bluntness, because I also tend to be blunt, sometimes to the point of like, not brutality, but I enjoy that aspect of honesty on both sides, that I can call you up and just ask you a question. There's no weird niceties that we have to dance around each other and that kind of thing. I also like the personal touch, where I don't have to go through a lot of different phone calls. I can call you straight away, and you get back to me when you can. Whereas other places, you talk to their secretary, and they may or may not get back to you, etc. So there are those things on your list that you may or may not know is on your list of what would make a great fit. You know what I'm saying? And so, because I see other people go through situations with their agents where they're kind of like, I like that she's so kind to me, and we only speak in writing instead of face to face, or instead of this or that. And I think like, oh, that just would not work for me. I just, So what would you caution authors about when it comes to finding the right fit? Do you feel like there's some kind of, checklist or
secret?
Something?
Yeah. Like a magic secret. There is none. There's no guarantees in life. All you can do to best prepare yourself, is be informed going in. Know who you're sending your manuscript to, for goodness sakes. You can check out our sales. Each agent, you can check out our sales history on Publishers Marketplace. You can go to the bookstore and look at your favorite books and look at the acknowledgement and see if they list the editor and agent. If they list the agent, you've got a good idea who to contact. You can usually go to the agent's website and find their clients, and then go to the writer's website and say, I was thinking of submitting to this person. I would caution against that, because writers are usually very busy. But I would use that tactic if you are offered representation.
Right.
Now,
I would always be willing to do that too. Like, if an author contacted me and said like, oh, hey, I'm writing this
you say that now.
Nun priest,
but
rapey book. Do you think Christine would like that? And I could be like, no, she would not like that. Please do not submit. I would be fine. I would be fine with doing that.
Yeah, but usually you go off radar when you're really under deadline.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to turn off the world. It's really hard to get a hold of authors sometimes. So, but for the most part, everybody's very helpful. Most authors are willing to pay it forward and help anybody out, at least the ones that I know. But, and they're very cautious about recommending people. If somebody says that one of my people recommended them to me, I check with that person.
Right. Yeah, I think that's really important, because I don't think I would put my name behind anybody. No, I can't even say I don't think. I absolutely would not put my name behind anybody. To you or to any other industry professional, did I not know exactly how good they were and how much I believed in them. And I would not appreciate anybody saying, I know Kerrigan, ergo she probably wants me to be represented by you. I feel like that's bad practice.
Listen, I've come across everything. In the 12 and a half years that I've been an agent, I've come across all sorts of tomfoolery. And you take it with a grain of salt. I get it. I get that they want it that bad. But starting out a relationship with a lie is not the best position to be in.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
as far as most agents, if they're really not looking for something, because there are different times a year that we're really, really busy. Like this is, the beginning of the year is the busiest time of the year because everybody's getting ready for the international book fairs and getting their fall book list ready to go. And it's a start of your audience ready, you're getting your foreign list ready. I mean, it's just a big deal. And as you know, I like to do my one-on-ones, my annual business calls. I mean, I talk to you guys all the time, but we all do business calls at the beginning of the year to kind of plot and plan how we want the year to go.
So here's a good question then. What would be the best time of the year if you had to take a stab at that to get a submission on an agent's desk?
It's different for it. Like I said, there are no two agents that are the same, because if you get an agent that's a baby agent who's really hungry to build their list, they're not going to be that busy. Your older, more seasoned agents are going to be a lot busier because they have a lot more to juggle, right. And they're pretty set with their list. But when agents get that busy, they a lot of us shut down our submissions, and it's by referral only for a certain period of time. And then you open it back up when you get over that hump.
Right. So that's something else to be on the lookout for when you're online doing your homework.
Sure.
Are they open or closed? Sure. That's a big one.
Right.
So,
and you asked me about my, I was thinking about my automatic response to people. Sometimes when an agent gives you a rejection letter, just be aware it could be for a variety of reasons, not because of the quality of the writing or the storytelling. It could be that the agent has something way too similar and they're already shopping it, or they already have something in-house. That they have a personal conflict, like for me, no rapes, nuns, priests, that kind of thing.
Right.
It wouldn't be a good fit for me. Whatever the case may be, whether it's 650,000 words, think about that. That's, 2 reams of paper.
Right. So every rejection, it's really important to not take it personally. To think,
right.
This could be.
It could be for a variety of reasons, but right. I think most people send kind. I don't go around and ask everybody what their rejection letters are, but I know that when I was doing my homework before I was an agent, most agents send nice letters. I mean, karma has a way of biting you back.
Oh, for sure.
I think when you're not kind, it comes back to you.
Absolutely. Okay,
that's why I say I always treat everybody the way I would like to be treated.
And that's lucky, because not everybody is that way, for sure. So, yeah. New topic, I guess. There has been so much upheaval in publishing since the rise of the indie published author. How do you personally feel about this trend, and where do you think it's going in the next 5 years?
Well, it depends. I'm a career agent. I will always be on the side of the writer, no matter what, obviously, because my husband's also a trial lawyer, and he actually has a lot of publishing cases. He tries cases for other agencies or other law firms, and he also has his own publishing cases. That's just one branch of his law firm. But I'm going to be cautious and say, I've seen things that really scare me, that have arisen since the rise of e-publishing. Pirating is just off the charts. Yeah. But there's just, when new things come along, there are always going to be pros and cons to everything. But once I think we're now getting settled into everybody getting comfortable with their indie stuff and them knowing what they have to do to make a book successful, because it's, I think a lot of people early on made it sound like the early days, it was like a gold rush, and I made $1 million, and so could you. And then they put it up, and they don't make $1 million, and they're wondering why.
Right.
But I think the gold rush days are clearly gone.
Right.
The novelty of ebooks has waned. The novelty of e-readers has waned a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like things are stabilizing a little bit, and there might be more of it might be smarter to do something a little bit more hybrid, or?
Well, like I said, I am a writer's advocate. I think that I like my people's fingers in every pie. I think they should be indie. I think they should have a finger in the traditional, and I think that they should try other things too. That includes audio and foreign, but obviously dramatic. Anything that you can build your brand, because the author is the brand.
Right.
And I think sometimes even publishers forget that. But I think that that's just how an author has to build themselves now, because there is just so much out there. The market is just glutted with stories, and it's just really hard to stand out.
Very true. Very true.
So, I support every one of my peeps that are doing the indie stuff. I support them. I help promote them any chance I can get, because their success is my success. So, like I said, this really is a partnership.
Right. So, looking forward then, just last question. What do you think agents and thereby publishers will be looking for in the very near future? I know no one can perfectly predict trends or anything like that, but if you had to take a guess, what would you say 2017, 2018 will look like in the publishing world?
I will qualify that by saying I am an uber left brain girl. I'm a numbers girl. I run numbers. That's my thing. I watch sales. I watch for micro trends. I watch sales on several lists, not just one or two. I watch the list. I watch the print list. And I've seen last year, there were several micro trends of paranormal. And with the market right now, I think that it's just so saturated with alpha males and alpha bastards and romantic suspense and contemporary in romance. And I'm using romance as my example.
Sure.
With each genre, I'm going to change my answer.
Okay, well,
bit,
let's specifically say because this is a toast to history, romance and mystery. Let's say for romance and for mystery specifically, what do you think is going to happen?
Let me keep going. Let me finish my thought with romance.
Awesome.
With romance, because there's so much contemporary and romantic suspense, and like I said, alpha heroes and alpha bastards and bodyguards and this and that. I think and everything is cyclical. I think we're gonna see a trend change soon, and I think you're gonna probably you may see some paranormal come back. You may see a lot of science fiction and fantasy come out of this, because we haven't had that in a while. And I remember when I first started, paranormal was so hot. Witches and demons and reapers, and everything is cyclical. It comes and goes, and it's just like in every other business. Our industry isn't unique. The same thing happened in the music industry. The same thing will happen in the dramatic industry.
Oh, for sure.
But as far as romance goes, I'm going to say you're going to see it lean towards science fiction and fantasy. And if it does go toward paranormal, I'm not sure. I wish I did have a crystal ball where I could see, because I could guide you guys a lot better. But from what I'm seeing, that's what I think. I also think that because the romance market is so saturated, I think at least because when I go to New York and I meet with editors, or I talk to agents, or I go to uh, uh, writers cons, I always ask, if I have a conversation with anybody, writers or anybody, I just say, what are you reading? What shows are you watching? I always like to see what people are doing with their free time, and what interests them. And if you even look at TV, look at, as you and I were talking, Penny Dreadful. You've got a lot of science fiction and fantasy that's really taken the forefront on TV right now.
So you think speculative fiction specifically
right.
is going to explode
Lucifer,
in the next?
Yeah. But as far as romance goes, I think the indies have gained market share, God bless them, because I think that their pricing, they're smart. Some people can juggle everything, some people can't, and the ones that can are doing very well for themselves, and kudos to them for that. But with romance, I think I'm just personally so tired with contemporary romance. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about single title here.
Right.
I'm kind of contemporaried out.
Right. And I feel like I've heard that from a couple of people, that they're starting to sway back to historicals, and they're starting to look or branch out into aliens, or things that they might not have done, or women's fiction with very strong romantic elements, but maybe not necessarily
Yep. Just new twist on something. It's just a fresh new idea, and I think that's where you'll go to. I think that the market will go when it does change and we find out our new trend. I think it will, because it's been very like mysteries and thrillers, they've been really dark. I think we'll move out of that too, because it's pretty saturated with a lot of things that are out there right now are really dark stories. So.
And I feel like maybe for the next little while we're gonna need a good laugh. So maybe comedies.
Exactly. We need something to escape everything that's happening in the world. We need escapism. Like, keep in mind, everything that I've just said applies to the U.S. market. It's different for different foreign markets.
Absolutely.
And each country is a different market.
Oh yeah, and we could spend an hour probably on each market. So.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, right. Exactly. So, but what I'm telling you is for the U.S. market.
Well, wonderful. So let's say for your very last question, what would you say is the most important advice to give to an aspiring author who is looking to break into the traditional market? I know you've kind of already said do your homework, so I feel like that's kind of a superfluous question, but
no, I'm going to stick to that answer. I'm going to say read widely. Read widely, because you're going to know your competition. You're going to know what's out there. You can't see the sales that haven't been posted yet. You're not mind. They're not writers aren't mind readers. They're not going to know that an editor already bought this, or they're not going to know that. But an editor at one imprint. There are a whole lot of imprints out there, but in order to get into traditional publishing, I think you're almost, unless you have a readership already, you're probably going to go through a digital door if you go to traditional publishing.
Okay, that's actually really good to know.
Okay.
So we can just find you BookSense Literary Agency online. Is there anything else you would like to add before we go?
My submission guidelines, it's BookCents, literaryagency.com. I do have a wish list up, so
do your homework.
Oh yeah, and I'm telling you, it already, when somebody does their homework, it really does put them above everybody else. They're like already in the top 1%. And I do have a wish list up there that I would love to find these stories. So I've been looking for a while for a few of them. So if you have them, send it to me.
Awesome. Well, I hope they go and check. Next week on A Toast to History, Romance, and Mystery, we will be toasting Jane Austen, Why Regency Romance Still Rocks Our Feminist World, with Regency author Amanda Collins. So make sure to tune in for that. I am Kerrigan Byrne, and until next time, raise your glass to learning something new and creating something truly great. Sláinte and to your health.
Cheers.
Another round, one more.